Welcome to the Curious Room.
Thank you. It's really nice to be in here today.
I'm so glad you decided to step in here with us. And to you listening, I'm glad you're here too. It's a little different in here than usual, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely feels a bit different.
The lights are a bit lower. The chairs are, well, they feel a little softer. It just feels like a safe place to sit and think. Usually we're out there chasing headlines or trying to dismantle some complex trend. But today feels, I don't know, it feels like we've closed the door on all the noise outside.
It really does. Usually we are running around trying to unpack the world, looking at big external forces. But the direction today is entirely different. We aren't looking out a window. We're looking into a mirror.
Right. It feels quieter, more
Yeah,
inward.
exactly.
So before we really get started, before we lay out the map for where we're going with this deep dive, I want to ask you, and I'm asking you listening right now too, wherever you are, to just pause for a second.
Just take a breath.
Yeah. Take a breath. And I want you to think about a trigger. You know what I mean? The kind of thing that bypasses your logical brain completely and just hits you right in the chest.
Ah, the psychological tripwire.
Right. Like maybe you're driving and the algorithm on your music app throws a curveball. An old song comes on. Not a massive classic hit, but that specific obscure song you played on repeat when you were, say, 17.
The one you cried to in your room.
Yes. Or maybe it's the smell of rain on hot asphalt, petrichor. And suddenly you're transported back to a very specific summer. Or you put your hand in an old coat pocket and your fingers brush against a ticket stub from a movie you thought 10 years ago.
That is such a powerful moment. It's almost physical, isn't it?
It really is.
It stops you right in your tracks. It's
Right.
not like trying to remember a phone number, which takes effort. It's a sensory invasion.
Invasion is a good word for it. And I want to ask, what is the feeling that follows that trigger? Because if you really sit with it, if you let that wave kind of wash over you, it isn't just remembering a time.
Right.
It isn't just remembering, oh, that was the summer of 2012 or whatever. It's remembering a person, and that person is you.
That's the key distinction right there. We aren't just remembering the external world. We are encountering a version of ourselves that just doesn't exist anymore.
Which is such a strange sensation.
It's incredibly strange. It's like looking at an old photograph of yourself and feeling like you were looking at a stranger, but a stranger who happens to be your oldest, dearest friend.
Yes, that is exactly it. It's that exact feeling of, I know you, but I don't actually know you anymore. It's almost like a ghost story, but you are the ghost.
A ghost story where you're haunting yourself. I love that.
And that obviously brings us to our mission for this deep dive. We aren't just talking about nostalgia for the world. We aren't talking about missing old cars or how cheap coffee used to be. We're doing a deep dive into the architecture of nostalgia regarding our own internal selves.
Which is a fascinating area to explore because it touches on how we construct our very identity. The central question we are grappling with is simple, but it's pretty profound.
Why do we miss versions of ourselves?
Exactly. Why do we do it? Is it just because we think we were happier back then? Is it because life felt easier? Or is there something much deeper going on with how our minds are built?
Is it a trick of the light or a fundamental human need?
Right.
I have a feeling it's something deeper. Because, and I'm sure you felt this, sometimes I miss versions of myself that weren't even particularly happy. I miss the struggling me. I miss the confused me. I just kind of miss them.
That is a really common experience, and it actually defies the basic logic of human nature, right? If we only sought pleasure, we would only miss the good times.
We'd only miss the vacations.
Exactly. But we miss the texture of the past, even the rough parts. To understand it, we really have to look at this visitor from the past. When that feeling hits you, how would you describe it? It's not quite sadness, is it?
No, it's definitely not sadness. Sadness feels heavy. Sadness feels like something has been forcibly taken away. This feels lighter.
Lighter, but not purely happy.
Right. It's not exactly happiness either. It has a little ache to it, like
Yeah.
pressing on a bruise that's almost healed.
That's a great way to put it. It's a very nuanced emotion. A great phrase to describe it is gentle curiosity. It's a soft feeling.
Gentle curiosity.
Yeah. It's not a desperate demand to go back and live there permanently. It's just a quiet observation.
I really like that. It takes the pressure off. It's not like I'm having a midlife crisis just because I'm not 25 anymore. I'm just curious about the person I was. It feels less like a crisis and more like checking in.
Checking in, exactly. Think about this analogy. Imagine you are walking into a coffee shop.
Okay.
It's a place you used to go to all the time. Maybe in a city you used to live in, but you haven't been there in years. You walk in, the bell on the door chimes, And sitting at a table right in the corner is an old friend.
Oh, I can picture this.
You know this person better than anyone in the world. You know how they take their coffee. You know what makes them laugh. You know what they are afraid of in the dark. But you also know that you have completely different lives now. You don't speak the same shorthand anymore. You've grown apart.
That is such a good image. It's incredibly intimate, but there's a distinct distance there.
Exactly. You sit down with them, but you aren't trying to be them. You aren't trying to drag them out of the coffee shop into your current life to, do your taxes or run your errands.
Right, they wouldn't know how to do my taxes anyway.
Exactly. You just want to sit with them for a cup of coffee. That is what it feels like to remember your 10-year-old self or your 20-year-old self. It's a visitation.
A visitation. That makes it sound almost ghostly again, but in a nice way. Like a friendly haunting.
A friendly haunting. I like that.
Let's talk about some of these real-life examples, the small examples. Because I think that's where this feeling really lives for most of us. It's not always the big graduation days or the weddings, it's the small stuff.
Oh, absolutely. The small moments are often the stickiest ones.
Why is that?
Well, the big moments are often overwhelmed by adrenaline, so we don't record the sensory details as clearly. But the quiet moments, that's where the flavor of daily life actually is.
One that comes up a lot for people, and I feel this one deep in my bones, is the Sunday afternoon feeling. Do you know what I mean?
I think I do, but walk me through your version of it. Paint the picture.
Okay, so think back to being maybe 8 or 9 years old. It's a Sunday afternoon. Maybe it's raining a little bit outside, or maybe it's just that heavy gray late afternoon light coming through the window.
I can see it.
You finished your homework. Maybe you don't even have any.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing on TV. Maybe golf or a boring infomercial. No smartphones, no internet really, or at least not the endless scroll we have right now. And you are just bored.
The texture of the carpet against your cheek.
Yes.
The sound of the clock ticking in the hallway.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Staring at the ceiling, literally counting the tiles,
Yeah.
watching dust motes floating in the shaft of light. When I think back to that version of me, that bored little kid lying on the floor, I actually miss it.
Which is weird, right?
It is so weird, because being bored isn't fun. In that actual moment, I probably wanted to do anything else in the world. But now, I miss how that boredom felt.
That is a perfect example of how our relationship with our own mind changes over time. You aren't missing the activity, or rather, the lack of activity.
Right.
You are missing the state of mind. As adults, our time is completely fractured. We are constantly stimulated. We are always on.
Always.
Our brains are in this constant state of processing data, emails, notifications, the news, traffic. That version of you, that 8-year-old on the carpet, had a brain that was quiet. It was spacious.
Spacious. That's the exact word. I miss the space in my head. I miss having thoughts that just drift by like clouds instead of thoughts that hit me in the face like ping pong balls.
And that's why we miss that version of ourselves. Not because we want to be genuinely bored, but because we want that capacity for stillness again. The part of the brain that daydreams was active and completely unburdened. Now we have to fight to get there. We have to meditate or go on a retreat.
Back then, it was just the default setting.
Exactly. It was just
But-
Tuesday. Or, well, Sunday.
Right. Here's another one that I think a lot of listeners will relate to, especially if they've ever moved away from home. The new city version of yourself.
Oh, this is a very distinct one. This is less about stillness and much more about voltage.
Voltage, yeah. You know that feeling when you first move to a new place? Maybe it's for university or a new job, or just because you desperately needed a change. You've just unpacked the boxes, you don't have curtains yet, so the streetlights are just glaring in.
You don't even know where the grocery store is.
You have no idea. You don't have any friends in town yet. It's objectively terrifying.
It's high stress. It's incredibly high stakes.
But looking back, wasn't there something totally electric about it?
Yeah.
I catch myself missing the version of me that was eating cereal on the floor because I didn't own a table yet.
It is incredibly electric. And this is so interesting because usually that time period is completely fraught with anxiety.
Oh, yeah. Financial stress, loneliness, just trying to navigate a new map.
But when we look back at the new city self, we tend to filter out all that anxiety.
We really do. I don't remember the panic about making rent. I don't remember getting lost on the subway and literally crying. I remember the feeling of walking down the street and thinking anything could happen here.
Exactly. You miss the possibility the version of you held. It's like this idea of explore versus exploit. When you are established in a city, you are in exploit mode.
What does that mean exactly?
It means you know the best coffee shop, you know the fastest commute, you know your friends. It's highly efficient, it's very comfortable. But the new city self was in explore mode. The map was totally blank.
A blank map. That's thrilling.
That version of you was pure potential. Every single stranger you passed was a potential best friend. Every street corner was a potential favorite spot. When we look back, we miss that rush of the unknown being a good thing.
Now the unknown is just a problem I have to solve.
Exactly. Back then, it was an adventure to be had.
Pure potential. I think that's a huge part of it.
Hmm.
We miss the feeling that our story hadn't really been written yet. Now, a few chapters are securely locked in.
This leads us really well into the deeper mechanism at play here, because we are touching on something crucial. We don't remember the past exactly as it was. We are constructing something. We are actively smoothing out the rough edges of that new city anxiety.
Right. This is where we get into the architecture of nostalgia. It sounds very fancy, but it's actually a really cool way to look at memory. It implies that we aren't just passive observers of our own lives.
We aren't passive at all. Think about memory not as a video recording. I think a lot of us operate under the assumption that our brains are just these hard drives storing video file.
Yeah, we think that when we remember 2005, we are just hitting play on the tape.
Like checking the security footage. Let's see what happened on Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Right.
But that is not how it works at all. Memory is a creative act. It is reconstructive. It's literally a building we design. We are the architects. Every single time you remember something, you are essentially rebuilding the house from scratch using the bricks you have stored.
So we are building a house in our heads,
Oh, yeah.
and we can just change the blueprint.
In a way, yes. We act as architects and curators. We choose what to frame, what to hang on the walls, and crucially, what to leave out. We decide where the windows go to let the warm light in and which dusty corners we leave in the shadows.
Wow.
There is this whole phenomenon where the emotional intensity of negative events actually fades faster than the emotional intensity of positive events.
Now, the bad stuff literally evaporates faster.
Exactly. It's like a psychological immune system. The brain is trying to keep you sane. The editing process is constant. Let's go back to your university example. When people say they miss being in college, what do they list?
Oh, the usual highlights. Sitting on the grass with friends on the first warm day of spring, staying up late talking about the meaning of life or listening to music, the freedom of not having a boss, the terrible pizza that tasted absolutely amazing at 2 in the morning.
Right. Those are the beautifully framed photos on the wall. And what do they usually not mention?
The crushing anxiety of finals week where you honestly thought you'd fail and ruin your life. The feeling of being completely broke and eating instant noodles for a straight month. The roommate who played loud music when you were desperately trying to sleep. The constant looming uncertainty of, what am I do with my life?
Precisely. We edit out the bad parts. Or, more accurately, we soften them. We turn the volume down on the stress, and we turn the volume way up on the joy. This is why the past version of us looks so incredibly good. They are living in a highly curated house.
A curated house.
Yeah, a house where the lighting is always flattering and the background music is always your favorite song.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like when you watch a movie about high school. It's never as awkward and mundane and boring as actual high school. It's the greatest hits collection. But isn't that a form of lying to ourselves? Are we just deluding ourselves into thinking the past was better than it was?
That's the natural skeptical question, right? But I don't think it's about delusion at all. We do this for a very specific reason. We do it because we need a coherent narrative to survive. If we remembered every single moment of boredom, stress, toothbrushing, waiting in line at the DMV, and all the minor annoyances,
They'd go crazy.
our memories would be completely unmanageable. We have to curate to create meaning.
So when we go looking for these former selves, we're visiting them in this curated house.
Yeah.
But why do we go looking for them in the first place? Why not just live here, in the present, in the real house?
Because the real house, the present moment, is messy. It's complicated. The plumbing might be leaking right now. The neighbors are loud. Life today has a lot of friction. But that curated house of the past, it's finished, it's stable, it's safe.
It's safe. That really resonates. The past can't hurt you anymore.
It is entirely safe. We go back because the former self represents a simpler time, or at least we think it does, because we have drastically simplified our memory of it.
So these versions of us, they aren't gone. They aren't dead.
No, they aren't gone at all. I love the idea that they are just in different rooms of this architecture. You have a room for your childhood self, a room for your teenage self, a room for the version of you that was heartbroken that one specific time. They are all still residing in the structure of your mind.
I really like that image. It makes me feel a lot less lonely in a way,
Mhm.
like I'm living in a big house with all these other versions of me.
It's a crowded house in the best possible way, and you can visit them whenever you want.
So let's take a walk through this house. Let's look at the gallery. Because I think there are specific versions of ourselves that almost everyone carries around. We've talked about the new city self, but there are deeper ones, right? More emotional ones.
Let's break them down. Which one stands out to you
I
first?
think the really big one for a lot of people is the before self.
Yeah, yes. The before self. This is a very powerful archetype in our minds.
This is the version of you right before a massive life change.
Mhm.
The before marriage self, the before kids self, the before the big breakup self, or even before the diagnosis.
This is a heavy one. This version represents a hard dividing line in your history. It's the exact moment before the timeline split permanently.
It really does. I think about the before kid self. A lot of parents talk about. It's not that they don't love their kids. They love them more than anything in the world. But they sometimes just miss the version of themselves that could just walk out the door.
The version that belonged only to themselves, that had total uncompromised autonomy.
Yes, that version was autonomous in a way the current version simply can't be. You could wake up on a random Saturday and just decide to drive to the coast, and you didn't have to pack a massive diaper bag or arrange childcare or worry about nap schedules.
And often, the before self represents, again, that core word, potential. When you look at the
Ugh.
broad before self, the book wasn't written yet. You didn't know how the marriage would actually go. You didn't know what kind of parent you would turn out to be. Now you know. And even if the outcome is fantastic, even if you are incredibly happy, there is a subtle loss in simply knowing. The mystery is gone.
That is so profound. We miss the mystery of our own lives. We miss the suspense.
We do. When we look back at the before self, we are looking at a person standing right on a precipice. We want to stand next to them and just feel that wind in our faces again. We want to uncollapse the wave function of our lives just for a brief moment.
Okay, let's look at another portrait in the gallery. The brave self.
This one is vital for our well-being.
I think we often forget how brave we've actually been. We get so bogged down in our current daily fears.
We really do. We tend to focus exclusively on our current anxieties. We think, oh, I'm so worried about this meeting today, or I'm too scared to make this difficult phone call, or I'm simply too tired to try something new. We constantly define ourselves by our current limitations.
But then you look back at a time in your life when you did something huge. You quit a job with zero backup plan because you just knew you deserved better. You traveled across the world entirely alone with just a backpack. You stood up to someone who was hurting you.
Exactly. And when you visit that brave self, you are almost in awe of them. You think, how on earth did I do that? Who was that person? Was that really me?
I've definitely had that exact thought. I look back at things I did in my early 20s, taking wild risks, jumping completely into the deep end, and I think I would never have the guts to do that now. I'm way too cautious now.
But you are that person. That's the beautiful thing about this architecture. You aren't looking at a stranger. You are looking at your own proven capacity for courage. It's hard evidence. We look back at that version to borrow some of their courage, to remind ourselves that the software is still installed, even if we haven't run the program in a while.
That's a brilliant way to put it. The software's still installed. We just need to reboot it. Okay, let's do one more. And this one might be the most tender one of all, the oblivious self.
This is the one that really breaks your heart a little bit. This is the one that makes you desperately want to reach through time.
It's the version of you who didn't know something hard was coming. You look at a photo of yourself from a week before a terrible tragedy, or a month before the whole world changed, like February 2020. And that version of you is just smiling, maybe complaining about a bad haircut or the weather, and they have absolutely no idea what's about to hit them.
It creates a tremendous sense of protectiveness. You just want to reach through the glass of the photo and warn them, or just hug them.
You want to shake them and say, brace yourself, it's going to be so hard.
But since you obviously can't do that, you just sit with them. You admire their innocence. We really miss that innocence. We miss the version of us that hadn't been bruised by that specific event yet, that hadn't been hardened by the world.
It's funny because we often think of innocence as purely a childhood thing, like only little kids are innocent. But you can be totally innocent at 30, right before a massive heartbreak. You can be innocent at 50, right before a huge loss.
Innocence is just the absence of a specific hard truth. And once you know the truth, you can't unknow it. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So we visit the version of us who didn't know. It's a respite. It's a temporary break from the weight of the knowledge we have to carry now.
I want to ask you, listening right now as we walk through this gallery together, Which version of you is waving at you? Is it the brave one who took that massive leap? Is it the oblivious one who is just happy in the moment? Or maybe just the bored one on the carpet staring at dust motes? Just let them wave. You don't have to do anything about it quite yet.
Just acknowledge them. That's always the first step. Don't push them away.
So we've talked about what we miss, but now we have to ask the really big why. Why do our brains do this at all? Why do we spend this precious energy looking backward? Is it just escapism? Is it just us avoiding our taxes and our chores? Or is there a real function to it?
It is definitely not just escapism. It is a tool, a highly sophisticated emotional tool that our minds have likely kept around for a very good reason.
Okay, unpack that for us. What is the tool actually used for?
The primary function is comfort and reassurance. Think about the world we live in right now. It is incredibly fast. It is unbearably loud. It is constantly demanding.
Constantly. It feels like a treadmill that just keeps speeding up and you can't find the stop button.
Exactly. When the present is fast and loud, the past is still and quiet because it's over. It's entirely static. It's not changing on you anymore. Revisiting a former self can be exactly like wrapping yourself in a warm blanket. It's a powerful way of self-soothing.
So when I'm completely stressed out about work today, and I randomly start thinking about my high school friends and driving around aimlessly in my old car, I'm essentially just retreating to a safe base.
Yes, you are reminding yourself of your foundation. You are reminding yourself that you have existed before this stressful moment and you will exist long after it. It grounds you. It literally tells your nervous system, I have a history. I am real. I have survived difficult things before. It actually reduces the stress and the cortisol of the present moment.
That's really comforting to hear. It's not just idle daydreaming, it's stabilizing. It's like throwing down an anchor in a storm.
Exactly. It's a stabilizer. But there is another function which is equally important, and it's all about calibration. It's about measuring growth.
Oh, right. We need a benchmark. Without a pass point, we can't actually see the line we're drawing.
Think about the classic wooden door frame where parents mark their kids' height as they grow up. You make a little pencil mark and write the date.
I have one of those exact door frames in my kitchen right now. It's just a mess of pencil lines at this point.
Right, and you look back at the mark from 3 years ago just to see that the child has actually grown. We do the exact same thing internally with our past selves. We miss them or we visit them to see how far we have physically and emotionally come.
So sometimes we miss the struggling stuff, not because we actually want to struggle again, but because we are secretly proud of them.
Yes. You might look back at a version of you that was really broke, eating instant noodles every single night, working 2 terrible jobs, just tired all the time. And you visit that person to say, look at us now. We have a fridge full of real food. We have a solid bed frame. We made it through that.
It gives you perspective. It turns your life into a cohesive story with a trajectory, rather than just a random, chaotic series of days. It connects the dots.
That's the key right there. Humans are fundamentally storytelling creatures. We desperately need our lives to have a narrative arc. By connecting with past versions, we are drawing the line that connects point A to point B. If we never looked back, we wouldn't know we were moving forward. We would just be floating aimlessly in the present, completely contextless.
Floating. That's a scary thought, actually. So nostalgia is an anchor and a compass at the same time.
An anchor and a compass. That's a really beautiful way to put it.
I love that. So we know who we miss, and we know why we miss them. But the big practical question is, what do we do with this feeling? Because sometimes, honestly, it can feel a little heavy. It can make you feel like your best days are firmly behind you. It can turn into a kind of resentment of your present life.
Yeah.
How do we stop it from becoming a sad, paralyzing thing?
This is where the crucial mindset shift happens. We need to actively move from grief to integration.
Integration. That sounds very proactive.
It is. It's about viewing this as a continuous conversation, not a final goodbye. A lot of people feel that when they change, the old version of them dies. They think, that person is gone, RIP, but they aren't gone.
Right, they're just hanging out in the other room of the house.
Exactly. So how do we handle the feelings when they bubble up? Instead of feeling sad that the time is gone forever, try to consciously feel grateful that the person existed at all. Try to, high-five them.
That sounds nice in theory, but it's hard to do in practice, especially if you hold a lot of regrets about that time.
It is hard, but one practical way to do it is through what we can call the thoughtful storyteller approach. It's entirely about how you narrate your own life to yourself.
Give me an example of that. How do we rewrite the script in our heads?
Okay, think about a time you did something incredibly embarrassing or totally failed at something, maybe in your early 20s. You took a job you definitely shouldn't have, or you dated exactly the wrong person. How do you usually talk to yourself about that specific time?
Oh, I usually say something like, I was so stupid back then. I can't believe I was that naive. What was I even thinking?
Right. It's pure judgment. You are judging your past self using the knowledge you only have now. That's totally unfair. The thoughtful storyteller doesn't judge. The thoughtful storyteller says, I was learning back then.
I was learning. That is so much gentler.
Right. You say, I was trying to figure out who I was, or I was doing the absolute best I could with the tools and the emotional data I had at the time. When you consciously change the internal narration from harsh judgment to compassion, the nostalgia stops hurting. It becomes genuine appreciation. You stop looking at your past self as a massive failure and start looking at them as a pioneer.
I'm pioneer.
Yeah, they were the one out there in the wilderness, hacking down the overgrown path, making all the painful mistakes, getting all the scrapes and bruises, just so you could walk on the smoothly paved road today.
Wow. They were the pioneer.
Oh.
I really, really love that perspective. I owe my past self a thank you card, basically. Thanks for making those mistakes so I don't have to make them.
You owe them everything. You are standing right on their shoulders.
So beyond just being nice to them in our heads, can we actually bring them back? Can we invite these past versions to participate in our current life?
This is the most exciting part of the whole concept. Yes, you can bring them forward. You can reintegrate them.
How, though? I can't physically be 22 again. My knees definitely won't allow it, and my liver absolutely won't allow it.
You can't be 22 physically, but you can borrow traits from your former self. You can bring the furniture from the old rooms into the new ones.
I like the furniture analogy. So let's say I miss the creative me from high school.
If you miss the creative,
Yeah.
the one who used to draw all over the back of notebooks or write really terrible poetry or play guitar for hours in the bedroom, you don't have to suddenly quit your job and try to become a rock star. But you can buy a sketchbook today. You can take 10 minutes to doodle during a boring meeting. You are literally inviting that version of you to sit at the table again.
That's totally doable. It's not a huge disruptive life overhaul. It's just a small invitation.
Exactly. Or let's say you deeply miss the adventurous you from your 20s, the one who traveled spontaneously and talked to random strangers. Maybe you can't fly off to backpack across Europe right now because you have a demanding job and kids and a mortgage, but you can take a completely new route to work tomorrow. You can try a restaurant you've never been to and order something off the menu you can't even pronounce. You can find a small daily way to exercise that adventure muscle.
It's like saying, hey, adventurous me. I know you're still in there somewhere. Come hang out for an hour. Drive the car for a bit.
Yes. The architecture of nostalgia isn't some dusty museum you visit once a year where everything is behind glass and you can't touch anything. It's a home you actively live in. You are allowed to rearrange the furniture. You can bring the curiosity from your childhood room and put it right in your office room. You can bring the bravery from your young adult room and put it in your parenting room.
That is such a freeing idea. It means we don't ever have to strictly choose between who we were and who we are right now. We are the sum of all of them.
We are the entire collection. We are the gallery itself, and the collection is always, always growing.
You know, this conversation has really changed how I feel about that little twinge of nostalgia. I usually try to push it away immediately because it feels like a useless distraction, or it feels like I'm somehow being ungrateful for my current life. But now I think I'm going to lean into it.
Lean right into it.
Yeah.
Let the visitor sit down at the table, buy them a coffee, ask them what they know that you've forgotten. They usually have really good advice.
That is beautiful.
There's one final thought I want to leave us with, and this is a bit of a mind bender, but it's very comforting. It completely flips the whole script you've been talking about.
Let's hear it. I'm ready for the mind bender.
We've been talking all hour about missing the past, about longing for the versions of us that came before, but we need to shift our focus entirely to the present moment, right now, the actual room you are in, the commute you are currently on.
Okay, I'm here. I'm present.
Right now, you, the listener, and you, sitting across from me, you are actively building a version of yourself that the future you will deeply miss.
Whoa. Whoa, that actually gives me chills.
10 years from now, you will look back at today. You will look back at the specific, ordinary phase of your life, and you will miss it. You will miss the exact way you look right now, even if you don't like it in the mirror today. You will miss the specific problems you are solving right now, even if they completely stress you out. You will miss this quiet moment listening to this conversation.
That is actually really powerful. It makes me want to appreciate this exact moment so much more. It makes the mundane feel incredibly special.
It creates a real sense of immediacy. It creates a nostalgia for the now. So be kind to your current self. Be very gentle with your current struggles because one day you will absolutely look back on this exact moment with that same gentle curiosity we talked about at the beginning. You are currently the old friend that the future you is going to eagerly visit in the coffee shop.
I am the old friend. I am the memory in the making. That is a wonderful thought to hold on to. It makes you want to sit up a little straighter, honestly.
It helps us treat ourselves much better, I think. We are creating the memory right now. Let's make it a really good room to visit later.
We are building the architecture as we speak.
We are, brick by brick.
Thank you so much for walking through this with me today. It's been a really special conversation. I feel like I've met quite a few old friends today.
It really has been special. Thank you for having me in the Curious Room.
And to you listening, thank you for stepping into the Curious Room with us. I really hope you take a moment today to say a warm hello to those former versions of yourself. They're good company.
They really are.
Take care of yourself and take care of the you that you are becoming. We'll see you next time.